I was getting really hot wearing that jacket, so I took it off and put it up there for the rest of this lesson. Your solution needs to be substantially better than the status quo to motivate your potential customer to make the change. They already have set behaviors and habits and processes around what they're currently doing. And in order to motivate them to make the change, they have to see a vision for a better future by purchasing your product or service. So let me give you a couple examples and then we'll go from there. The first example is I used to go to SoulCycle a lot, but it was expensive and it took a lot of time. It took me an hour round trip, 30 minutes to get there, 30 minutes back, an hour for the class. Then came along Peloton, and for 1 month's membership, I could get the same class, the 1 month's membership was about the same price as one class of SoulCycle. Also, I didn't have to travel. It saved me an hour's worth of time. So it really solved the biggest problem that I was trying to fix, which is time and money. Here's an education example. So a lot of companies have tried to come up with a scheduling solution, right? A better scheduling solution, because we all know that it's a pain to schedule a school. So, but every SIS system already has a scheduling system. So when people are trying to come up with something better, it has to be substantially better for them to actually make the change. The other piece that people didn't think about so much is that there's another form of competition that exists for scheduling, which is doing it manually. People have built habits and tools and hacks in order to do scheduling because there wasn't the scheduling system out there. And every school that you go to has very different requirements. And so often you're competing against whiteboards, Post-it notes, spreadsheets, different things systems that people put together. And the other question in today's day and age is, can you just upload enough information into ChatGPT and will it spit out something that's good enough for you? Is it going to be 80%, 90% good enough when you upload something into ChatGPT and get an output from them? So as you think about your product or service, it really needs to have a clear, compelling reason for people to want to leave what they're currently doing. One of the tricky things in early stage entrepreneurship and early stage of developing your product is knowing if your product or solution is going to be good enough for that transition to happen, for somebody to stop doing what they're doing and someone to buy your product. And so that's why we say, start with your trusted relationships, get the champions, really understand why they're willing to make the change. Then ultimately you're developing a value proposition that's really solid that you can believe in. I use a framework of cheaper, faster, better, right? And pick two. Usually something is cheaper and faster, or something is faster and better, but not cheaper, right? And so you could see how that really helps me frame what's going to drive somebody or compel somebody to make the change. You need to get the product in people's hands in order for you to learn if your assumptions around why people want to use the product are accurate, and you're constantly trying to firm that belief up and make sure that you really understand what's the intrinsic reason why someone changed from what they were doing before to what you're offering. So now's the time to scrub your value proposition again, your elevator pitch again, that hook again, the attention grabber again, to make sure it's concise and something that you feel confident that someone's going to, if they hear what you have to say, they're going to feel compelled enough to drop what they're currently doing and adopt something new. And if you haven't made those iterations, you just didn't get enough feedback, because the more feedback you get, you're going to realize that there's refinements you're going to need to make in order for it to really stick. Think about the time you had to come up with a mission statement of some sort. Think about how hard it was to refine that mission statement to be concise, like a sentence or two sentences long with non-redundant words, right? Just to make sure that it really is memorable. It's something that people can catch on to and repeat themselves. So how you communicate this with your champions is really critical because, as you know, they may not be the ones that are making the final decision. And often in school systems, decisions are made at a committee level. And so they need to be able to repeat all of the things that you say about your product and your idea and your vision to a committee while you're not there. And so trying to hone in on that and transferring that excitement and the clarity of what you're offering is really critical. A bad example of something like this might be, XYZ product or service improves student learning outcomes. That's just too broad and vague, right? A good example might be this AI powered tutoring tool has been known to increase student reading scores by 20% in grades 1 through 3. So you could see how just having that very crisp, sharp hook in order to get somebody's attention is really essential in describing what your product or service might do. It's very specific and measurable. So this is your homework for the lesson. Continue to build momentum around your network, around your idea, your elevator pitch. Make sure that your hooks are working. Try it with as many people as possible. Are you starting to feel comfortable talking about your product or idea with people that you don't know, people that you just met? Are they getting excited about it? Are they wanting to have a follow-up meeting, or are they wanting to join your wait list or wanting to buy the product right away? These are all signals that things are starting to work. You also want to see if they're wanting to share it with other people that they know. They have a friend that expressed a problem that your solution could solve, and they want to make that introduction. You really know that you're creating the kind of buzz and excitement for your product, and your messaging is starting to hit home. And that's when you could take the next move, which is to really take it out to market and complete the build so that you could get your first 10 customers.